Hi everyone, happy Friday and last day of class. It definitely feels like this 8 weeks has both flown by and drug out at times, not in a bad way. I actually am coming out of this a lot, feeling a lot better than what I was going into it, so there's definitely a positive. Economic history has never been a forte of mine. It's never been something I've been terribly interested in, but I've gained a new appreciation for it, and it's definitely opened my eyes to a little bit of a different aspect of things that I had taken, I guess, maybe a little bit for granted as far as maybe being one-sided. In any case, the person I'd like to talk about today is Herb Keleher. You may not be familiar with that name outside of the DFW area, but you're probably familiar with the name Southwest Airlines. Herb Keleher was born in New Jersey in 1931. He went to school to be a lawyer. After law school, he moved to Texas, where he decided he was going to either open a law firm or start a business. And one of his clients and he decided that the Pacific Southwest Airlines in California was a fantastic business model for an airline, and in the case of Southwest, they wanted to link Dallas-Fort Worth with Austin, Houston, and San Antonio, and by doing so, they created a model that was called point-to-point, or from one airport specifically directly to another, rather than the hub and spoke that we see where DFW International might link in with Denver, might link with Chicago, and small regional airlines all go to the hub, and then they go from there on larger carriers. The Southwest mentality was to not necessarily cut services, but provide greater services while also being able to cut costs, keep costs low, and one of the biggest things that Herb Keleher and his company decided they were never going to do is they were never going to lay off any employees. There are currently 58,000 people working for Southwest. It's been profitable every year since the first 2 years after it was founded. They've never had a layoff, they've never had a furlough, and they've never had a pay cut, despite being one of the most unionized airlines in the world. For example, in one of the coach fares between Dallas and San Antonio was $62. Of course, this is back in the 70s when Southwest was just getting off the ground. Southwest fare for the same route was $15. Keleher believed the low fare concept did not mean lower profits. His vision was to bring air travel to the masses, to make it something that everyone was able to do without either providing lower standards of service or less services than the other airlines. Keleher also had the devout loyalty of their employees. A colleague of mine's husband actually works for Southwest, and until he died, Herb Keleher was known to go down into the maintenance areas to see what the mechanics were doing, to go to the ticket booths to see what the ticketing agents were doing, and in some cases even take over that job so that person could take an early day off, of course, with pay, because that was just the kind of guy that Herb Keleher was. He had stepped down in 2008, and he received a 23-minute standing ovation because of his efforts to make sure, A, that everyone always had a job, everyone felt like they were respected, and everyone felt like they were the most important employee in Southwest, which, in this case, I think everyone would agree that Mr. Keleher was probably the most important employee in Southwest, though he might argue to the contrary. In any case, that is a brief story of Herb Keleher, one of the pioneers of Texas air travel and truly a unique individual. He's been described as a hard drinker, a hard smoker, and he liked to dress like Elvis as his standard attire to go to work. But he was truly a unique individual in the DFW business world. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you guys in our next class together.